Okay. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of The Field Between, Mohammed bin Salman's favorite podcast. My name is Ahmed.
And I'm Yasmine.
We're
back on track.
We're back to a regular schedule of hopefully coming out at the beginning of the week.
Yes.
At the very least, it'll be back to one episode.
It's already Monday, but yes.
It's Monday, yeah.
Tuesday. Monday
that's
or
fine.
Tuesday. That's pretty good.
That's pretty good. Okay, we're going to make this one short and sweet. I've got two things, but my understanding from my back channels is that you also have something you'd like to share.
One thing.
Okay, what do you got?
There was a raid on a queer bar in Pittsburgh.
A rave.
A raid.
Raid.
Yeah, not a rave, but a raid. Yeah, it was weird. So apparently it's because they were worried about like too many people being in the bar. There was like 130 people in the bar, and like
what's the bar and
there's
what was
supposed to
going
be 70 people.
Which bar?
It is called P-Town Bar. It's a queer bar. It's in Oakland.
Okay.
But it was really heavy-handed. They had like 20 police officers in bulletproof vests. Like they kicked everyone out.
A raid does not seem like an appropriate thing to do if your concern is just too many people in the bar.
Yeah, you could just like have one person come and ask. But also, I just have never heard like there's often bars that are not queer that are over capacity, and usually it's not a massive issue.
Yeah. Wait. Like, so they for real? Like, that's the reason they were just like there are too many people.
And
here?
then but they didn't give an explanation. They just said that they were worried it wasn't in compliance. They kicked everyone out onto the sidewalk. And then the sweet part of the story is that there was a drag performance happening, and the drag queens kept on performing on the sidewalk and like kept on like amping up the crowd and stuff. And people felt like it was raining, but people like no one left. People felt like it was kind of a nice moment of solidarity, but they gave no explanation initially for why they went through. And they also like searched the whole place, which is kind of weird, which you would presumably not have to do if it was because of a compliance issue, because it was, over capacity. So
okay, there's an annoyingly loud car outside, so hopefully that's not getting picked up. But
yeah,
it's probably trite to point out, but do they ever perform these raids at like these frat parties or?
Well, that's what I was saying, is that it's not super common. Yeah. But yeah, very
not
weird.
Super common or like never done?
I've never heard of it being done. That doesn't mean it's never been done.
Yeah.
But I've never heard of like police showing up because of worry that a bar is over capacity. But also if they did, I would assume it would be like one officer, not like 20. Just weird.
Officer and like a fire marshal or something. That's usually like a
yeah. And also the fact that they searched it was weird, because like what did that have to do with anything?
They searched it.
Yeah,
Did they have a warrant?
They pushed everyone out. Then they like looked around the bar, searched it.
But did they have a warrant to do that?
I don't think so. But I don't know. I mean, they weren't like going through their private stuff, but they like walked around the bar and kind of surveyed it.
Weird.
Yeah.
Was anyone hurt?
Nope.
Were there any thoughts? Anyone arrested or anything like that?
No. But people were like nervous. But
Yeah,
I think
course.
the sweet thing was that the show kept on going.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely weird behavior.
It's weird. I feel sometimes the police just don't have anything to do and
yeah, I mean, it's hard.
Overreact to shit that they shouldn't.
Yeah, I feel like if we weren't in the moment that we're in, like I wouldn't read into it too much. But it's kind of hard not to, and also wonder if it was meant to be like, yeah, I don't know, intimidation thing or what was up with it.
Was it Pittsburgh City Police?
Yeah, who else would it be?
Could have been Allegheny County Sheriffs. Could have been some other police department.
Yeah,
but it was Pittsburgh Police.
I think so. Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, it's in Oakland, so I assume so.
Could have been Pitt Police.
No, it wasn't Pitt Police. Pitt Police don't go off campus.
They don't?
No.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's gotten a lot of press because, I mean, for obvious reasons, because a raid happening, it felt like a raid, and a raid happening in 2025 in a queer bar is kind of worrisome. So,
yeah.
But also, I think it, went viral because it was an impressive and kind of lovely response.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else?
Nope.
All right. So I was tasked with the job of preparing the bulk of this episode.
I'm a little nervous. Okay,
which
continue.
I have taken up this duty with very subpar effort.
Okay.
But I've got something nonetheless.
All right.
Okay, so in actually kind of continuing with bar drama, I'm sure you have not heard of this, but in Philadelphia, there is a bar that is owned by Barstool, the media company. Are you familiar with Barstool?
Yes.
Okay. Are you familiar with Barstool's owner, Dave Portnoy?
I think because you told me about his pizza shtick.
He does the pizza shtick.
But I didn't know who he was before that.
But also, he's just kind of like the persona he puts out there is just like, I shoot it straight. I'm a no bullshit guy. I love the free market and I'm a business guy and I don't have time to suffer fools.
I see.
That's his like shtick. He is Jewish. And I feel like that hasn't really like figured into his persona until like the last year or so.
Is he pro-Israel?
For obvious reasons. We'll get into that. But anyway, so he owns a bar, and Barstool owns a bar in Philadelphia on Sansom Street, I guess is one of the main streets in Philly where people go party. A video came out the other day of people in his bar holding a sign that said, "Fuck the Jews." And they were dancing around with it. It was like a light up sign. I'm going to play the video in a second.
That's creepy.
Anyways, so he like reacted to that today. And so we're gonna kind of go through this whole drama.
Okay.
And kind of discuss that. But so I'm gonna play a video of his reaction to what happened at the bar.
I mean, I'll just say first off, that's like a weird, creepy thing for someone to do.
It's not good.
Yeah.
I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I think it's bad.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Agreed.
Okay, give me a second to find. All right, here.
Press conference time. So I'm getting ready to go to the Met Gala. And all of a sudden, my phone, the last hour or two, my phone's fucking blowing up. Our bar in Philadelphia, Barstool, Sampson Street, usually a great fucking bar. You know, bottle service, people buy drinks. You get a sign. There was a sign yesterday that said, "Fuck the Jews." I've been shaking. I've been so fucking mad for the last 2 hours. Like, I instantly got on. This is why the emergency press conference was late, because I was so over the top. It's like, I'm going to fucking make it my life fucking mission to ruin these people. Like, I'm coming to your throat. I'm never ending. And I just sat, and for the last 2 hours, I have been on the trail. Trust me, I've been on the trail. You think I'm going to put up with this shit at my bar? So I've been hunting down waitresses, the table who did it, and everything you can fucking name. Because I want fucking consequences for fucking actions. So I'm not just sitting back like, oh, what are you going to know? Trust me. I have been on it. I believe the two waitresses responsible for the table already fired. I talked to one of them, one of the dumbest fucking humans I've ever talked to in my life. She's at a fucking dance recital. She's like, "Can I call you back in 20? No fucking honey, you fucking can't. This is your one chance to talk to me." Idiot, total idiot, this girl. I've talked to the guy Mike Wade who's tagged. Guess what? He wasn't even fucking there. I had this kid basically in tears turning state witness to me, rolling on the people who were there. I've talked to one of the two guys who fucking did it. He's like, "I'm not anti-Semitic." He's basically crying to me. And I'm just like, I don't fucking buy it for a second. Who the fuck would do that sign in my fucking bar? You think I'm just going to sit here? I'm going to make it my fucking mission to put you in lights. My fucking mission. Kid's crying. I just hung up on his ass. I go, "I'm giving you 1 fucking hour. 1 fucking hour. 2 kids go to temple. Tell me, how do I make this fucking right before I go fucking ape shit? You want to take anti-Semitism classes? You want to do whatever? You make it feel right. I don't need your fucking tears."
Okay. So it kind of keeps going on like this. The video keeps going. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit. He comes back. He's like, "Oh, yeah, I had a chance to cool down, whatever." And then he suggests.
2 hours ago, he literally could have cooked an egg on my head. That's how much steam and heat I had come out of my ears. And the more I thought about it, it's like, these are young fucking morons who did this. They were drunk. It's like, do you really want to ruin somebody's life? And let me be honest. I don't know what's going on in the world. I do, the Middle East, obviously. But I've been doing Barstool for 20 years. I've had more hate, more anti-Semitism in the last year and a half than I've ever had doing it. And whether people with like Kanye, the UFC guy, it's like mainstream lunatics. And I'm not talking about politics or what's going on in the Middle East, just hating groups of people. You hate my parents, you hate my grandparents, shit like that. It's crazy. So, yeah, my initial reaction was like, I'm going to fucking burn these people to the ground, their families, everything. And it's like, you know what? Maybe that's not the best course of action. Maybe I can use this as a teaching moment. And like, before people just are like, fuck the Jews or any group and the hate, let's try to like turn a hideous incident into maybe a learning experience, as cliche and very unlike me. But I talked to both the culprits who I know are super involved in it, talked to the families. I'm sending these kids to Auschwitz. They've agreed to go. That's, of course, the Holocaust concentration camps.
I think this is a reasonable response.
Been in touch with the Crafts, who run the anti-hate group. We're going to send these kids to Auschwitz, and they're going to do a tour of the concentration camps in Germany and hopefully learn something. And maybe, like, their lives aren't ruined and they think twice, and more importantly, other people, like, see, it's not just, like, words you're throwing around. So to me, that's a fair outcome of this event.
Okay, he keeps going, and he also one slight problem is that Auschwitz is not in Germany. But what are your thoughts so far?
I think that's reasonable.
You think that's a reasonable response?
I mean, no, I think he was like pretty like a bit. I mean, that's probably just like his personality, right? He seems kind of like a cartoon a little bit. But I think in terms of like a appropriate response to like anti-Semitism, I think that's reasonable. Yeah.
All right. So getting to who Dave Portnoy is when he started Barstool, this is a little bit of an episode of a thing that he did a while ago when Barstool was kind of just fresh and launching. This is from 2012.
It's all the rage in college towns around the country. They're called blackout parties, where people party so hard that some of them, well, black out. Lisa Guerrero and the I Squad look at the mayhem that ensues when these parties come to town.
They're called blackout parties, and with scantily clad college co-eds dancing to the pounding music, they're the hottest late-night events going. The parties are advertised on a popular
When
website
neon used to
called
be the thing.
BarstoolU.com. It's known for its off-color blogs and photos of sexy co-eds. Many college girls who want to stand out flock to the blackout parties dressed in skimpy shorts and neon bras that glow in the dark under the black lights and strobes.
These blackout parties are so popular that at a recent event, all 2,500 tickets sold out in less than a minute.
This is the man behind the blackout party craze. 35-year-old David Portnoy comes...
Okay, I have to pause right there. These are parties for like college co-eds. And then in this piece that they're doing on it, organized by Barstool, Dave Portnoy is a 35-year-old man. And he's wearing like a crop, like tank top thing. And he's organizing, again, what are called blackout parties.
Yeah, that's a little
that
creepy.
College girls go to.
It's his business, I guess, in terms of his age, but the blackout thing is not good.
Weird business.
Work in a tank top. His headquarters is in this dingy office outside Boston that looks more like a messy college dorm. Portnoy insists
There's
his
a giant
parties
blow
are
up dick on the
safe.
table.
So blackout party does not refer to getting so drunk you black out?
No, it doesn't. I mean, a lot of people are saying that. It's obviously a catchphrase for us, but we don't mean it in the literal sense of blackout, so you pass out.
At New York's Roseland Ballroom, the sign says it all. Barstool Blackout Tour sold out. Some critics also say that blackout parties promote an atmosphere that puts women at risk.
You posted the following on your site. I never condone rape, but if you're a size 6 and you're wearing skinny jeans, you kind of deserve to be raped.
Correct. I stand by that. I think it's a funny joke.
You think rape is funny?
No, I didn't say that. I think it's a funny joke.
Do you understand how offensive that is?
No, I obviously don't.
Okay. Now, why did I play those two clips side by side? Because I think it's interesting to talk about who Dave Portnoy is as a person. Obviously, like, I don't think fuck the Jews is funny at all, or like a thing people should say, like not even in humor. It's just like not me or whatever. And also it's like worth mentioning that at the bar, these are all white. Like if you look at the video, the bar where the fuck the Jews sign thing happened, all white kids. And I want to bring in the fact that also Dave Portnoy, since the Harvard stuff, the anti-Semitism stuff they've been alleged to be a part of, he's one of the people who led the charge against Penn and Dave Portnoy.
Okay, so that's this guy who runs
Barstool.
He led the charge against Harvard and Penn.
And he was like one of the first CEOs who was like, I'm not going to hire anyone from Harvard or MIT or Penn.
But he wasn't like a donor or anything. He just was like...
I don't know if he was a donor, but he was like part of that milieu of like...
Got it.
Bill Ackman, like rich, hundreds of millions of dollars. Probably has friends who he's like, I'm going to call them up and make sure they don't donate. So I wouldn't be surprised if he affected some capital flow toward Harvard, but I don't know if he himself is a donor. Yeah.
Gotcha.
But he did like lead the media charge against them and like Claudine Gay and all
I see. Okay. Yeah. I was missing that context. I was wondering like what
So by Dave Portnoy's standards, he makes this awful, set aside the fact that he's a creepy 35-year-old kind of wearing weird clothing to his office for a guy. And then he has the standard by which he's just like, I stand by my joke. I think it's funny, whatever, blah, blah, blah. If you don't think it's funny, then whatever. Like that's, and then this thing happens at his bar. And immediately he's just like, fuck these kids. Like, I'm going to make sure I'm going to burn their lives to the ground. I'm going to like destroy them. Where's that standard of like, oh, like they were just, and then I feel like what happened was that he realized they're all just like white kids. Like, if they were not white kids, do you think he would be having the same reaction where he was just like, I'm going to send them to Auschwitz and like make sure this is an educational moment? And like
probably not. You're right. Yeah. I mean, like it is hypocritical, obviously. I think it's not unusual for people to react more to like, and this is like shitty and we should examine it, but to react more to like discrimination that affects them and to like not really give a shit if it's like not something that's affecting them. But also I will say like, there's no like joke to like fuck the Jew. Like it's not like a pun or anything. Like there's not like a joke. It's just like straight up anti-Semitic. Like,
I mean, you would also probably say the same thing about what he said about rape, right? But
yeah, no, it's shitty and awful and misogynistic, like for sure.
Yeah. But we're saying by his standards, it's like clearly,
I mean, I guess also because he owns the bar, like that was clearly like, I think that was clearly directed at him, probably, right?
I don't know. I think it was just dumb
college kids being shitty. Yeah.
I
mean, I think he's also definitely right.
They were like literally a bunch of frat bros. Like if you watch the video.
Yeah. I think he is right that like they're like Kanye obviously is mentally ill, but like there has been kind of a mainstreaming of like Nazi kind of sentiments. I mean, I think a lot of it honestly is Kanye, which I hate to say, but like, yeah, I mean, I guess I don't feel like as strongly about this as you. Maybe because I haven't followed him.
But I guess my question is like, why has Dave focused his energies on undergrads at Harvard? Yeah.
Yeah, no, obviously that's kind of dumb, but he was like, oh, I'm not going to hire anyone. Like that part is like really hypocritical and stupid. But what's your question?
Why is it that he's focused? I agree with you that like all this anti-Semitism is a real thing. However, the way he reacts, you would think that it's coming from pro-Palestine protesters at Harvard and Penn and Columbia or whatever. And that's what people like him are pointing to as instances of anti-Semitism. And I just think that is incredibly misleading and disingenuous because here we are. He mentions Kanye, like the instances of anti-Semitism that he gives in the video. He's like, oh, it's Kanye. It's this UFC fighter who I'm not exactly sure who he's referencing.
He doesn't mention Palestine or like the Harvard stuff in this video.
Not to say
that he does in other places, but yeah. I mean, I guess maybe that was a strategic move, but I think everything he mentioned in this video is pretty valid. I was worried when you showed me this clip because I was trying to figure out where it was going that he was going to send the kids to Israel, and I was like, oh no. But yeah, I mean, sending them to see like that kind of historical consequence of a concentration camp makes a lot of sense to me. But yeah, I know it is super hypocritical and stupid that he's like going after or trying to like stigmatize students who've been advocating for Palestine. And it sounds like based on what you're saying, you're right that he connects that to anti-Semitism. But if anything, I'm glad, like, I mean, I'm not trying to give him too much credit, but I'm glad in this video, at least he pointed to some genuine instances of anti-Semitism that were like not related to like pro-Palestine sentiment.
That is true. However, leading up to this and since October 7th, it's almost been exclusively pointing to students.
Yeah, that's
and
shitty.
saying these are the ones who are anti-Semitic.
Yeah, that is shitty.
And ignoring the real instances of anti-Semitism.
Right.
And again, if there had been a "fuck the Jews" sign at a protest at Harvard, which there never was, and maybe he should take the time to think about why that is. And there's one in his bar from people who ostensibly follow Barstool and are of the Barstool culture, and they thought it was fun or funny to have a sign that said "fuck the Jews." There's a reason it happened in his bar among his following crowd and not among Palestine protesters.
Yeah, it's worth you, Ray, also doing kind of a self-audit. I mean, like, not like it's his fault directly that this happened at all, but like the kind of culture that he's creating and the kind of atmosphere definitely doesn't seem like a very like welcoming one generally.
Yeah.
But yeah, it also speaks to, right, that like, as we've said many times in this podcast, but it's important to repeat that like anti-Semitism is not a characterization of the pro-Palestine movement. Yeah.
What do you mean by that? That is how people want to characterize it.
Right, but I'm saying it's not an accurate portrayal.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously,
yeah. Right. I have another video of him queued up. A interview with Tucker Carlson. It's going to go on for a bit.
Tucker Carlson has gotten everyone on his show. He's just like such weird mix of people.
Yeah. I wish he was a better interviewer, but
yeah. I feel like, I don't even know. I guess just because people tune in, that's why people go on, I guess.
Yeah.
Is it a podcast or is it a show?
It's a show.
But it's not with any like major network, right? He produced it himself?
It's on X.
Oh, it's on X. Okay.
Which is why I don't see it. Anyway, so I have this clip. I forget exactly what's mentioned, but I know I'm starting it at 9 minutes and I had it stopped at 13:09.
Okay.
So we're going to listen to it for a bit, but I'll probably cut it down.
Sounds good.
So when you were gone and this big company was running your company, you had an employee who read rap lyrics out loud with forbidden words in them.
Yes.
They got fired.
Correct. Ben Mintz.
What was that?
That was awful. So Ben Mintz, he started a morning show. And to see Ben Mintz, he's a walking, bumbling idiot. I love him, but that's what he is. So he literally, I think he was reading because it was Monday or something. I forget the song. But he literally was reading the lyrics off a cue card. Read it. He said a lyric that he should have, not said clearly. But his knee-jerk reaction, you can see it on the video, instant regret. Like, he was reading the song, reading the lyrics. The second he did the lyric, he kind of recoiled, like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. That was his reaction. I don't think any...
But he didn't ad-lib it was in the song.
No, he was quite literally reading the lyrics.
Okay, okay.
And it was quite obvious, even in this time, white guy can't say those lyrics. We get that. But it was obvious he was reading them off.
It would be like reading Huckleberry Finn.
Correct.
It's a naughty word.
Right, and he realized it within a second. And I think everybody who would watch that video with that clip be like, that's an innocent mistake. No hate. So that's why they got rid of Ben Mintz.
So what happened to Ben Mintz? I mean, he lost his job.
Ben Mintz lost a job. I had started at the time a watch company called Brick Watch. You said call it Timepiece Company. Whatever it is, it wasn't.
Well, all the watch fetishists call them timepieces.
Well, maybe I screwed up. Here it is. I'm wearing it. We didn't sell a ton of them.
How much are they?
They're not cheap. They're $2,400.
For one?
For one. We'll edit that for one part. So we hadn't hired anybody. And my first hire at Brick Watch was Ben Mintz to be the salesman for Brick Watch, which was great. So we hired
Unless you're Ben Mintz and you're like, shit, I was hosting this show and now I'm selling watches.
Listen, I said, Ben, do exactly what you were doing before, except you do it for Brick Watch, and that's it. We did hire him. Once I got the company back, we hired him back right away. So he's now...
Oh, you hired him back?
Now he's back at Barstool now. Yes. That was the first thing we did once I got the company back.
Good for you.
Yes.
So, and that's how it should be. Listen,
That man's going to work for you for the rest of his life.
for better, for worse, yes. And I consider myself a rational, logical person. You can tell when somebody is hateful, and you can tell when somebody makes an honest mistake. There's too much in this country where outcry and outrage over clearly innocent, non-hateful stuff, and that's what Ben got caught up in.
But you just...
That's why I had this queued up. Okay. So we have an instance of someone who is ostensibly a media professional who was on his show reading some rap lyrics, and he maintains that this guy just accidentally chose to read the lyrics of a song on his show live, apparently did so not knowing what the lyrics were going to be, and then doesn't have the wherewithal to not read aloud the N-word.
White people are obsessed with the N-word. It's crazy.
They really want to say it. And so he's spinning it off as like he was just reading, and the connection between his brain and his mouth is instantaneous. And he just couldn't not say the word.
Yeah.
And he got fired when his media company got acquired by a different one briefly, and then he reacquired the company from the one that bought him out. And he said hiring this guy was the first thing that he did when he reacquired the company.
Yeah, weird priorities. I guess it was his friend.
Meanwhile, he's like, I'm not going to hire a Harvard student. I'm not going to.
Right.
So like, it's just like a crazy, and I bring this up not just to talk about Dave Portnoy, but I think it is indicative of because it's very clear, like Dave Portnoy would not have the same sympathy or empathy for a non-white pro-Palestine person.
No, for sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like, there's just no leniency. He is fully on board with not hiring these people. The same tactic that's been taken by Alan Dershowitz of trying to call law firms and dox students who sign statements and making sure that they can't get jobs, pressuring NYU Law and other law schools to suspend students who have signed statements or won't disavow the pro-Palestine protests. It's not just I'm afraid of campus anti-Semitism thing, but it really seems like you have to look at, from like a class perspective, all these billionaires and millionaires who are just cracking down on more precarious people. It feels like an obedience test. Like they are saying, if you don't say the thing that I want you to say or believe what I want you to believe, then you will be punished for it. And we want you to be an obedient worker. And this is just an expression of class antagonism to make sure that people don't push back in other ways. Because if they can make you give on your stance on Palestine or make you eat the words or like swallow your beliefs, then they know they can get away with a lot more.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this is kind of part of our broader shift we're seeing also of like a backlash to quote unquote wokeness or DEI policies, where essentially like the only things that are left that you're allowed to be offended by are things that offend white people, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
I have to say though, I don't mean this as a criticism, but I would have found this much more compelling. I think I get the broader point here. Like if I had listened to a clip with him talking about the students, like not hiring students coming out of Harvard or Columbia or wherever, NYU, who were involved in pro-Palestine protests. But then he's saying that he's going soft, or not even going soft, honestly, but he's, trying to like think through thoughtfully how to deal with these two people that did something anti-Semitic in his bar. I guess the point is kind of like, oh, he's able to slow down for that, but not for this other kind of hot-headed and like highly discriminatory action. Like there definitely is an irony there.
But you're saying you wanted a clip of him?
No, I'm just saying like I feel like that makes it what is frustrating.
Yeah.
That he does that, obviously.
Uh-huh.
But I mean, I don't know. I'm glad that he handled this one shitty situation with some nuance and grace. I think that like two things can be right, or rather like it can be right both that he seems to suck as a person for like a great variety of reasons. He seems like a misogynistic. He seems like he doesn't give a shit about anti-blackness, you know. But I'm glad that he handled that one incident well.
Right. But I guess my point is he would not have handled that incident well if it weren't white frat students who are clearly, again, like 100%. Part of his whole, that's his market.
Right. No, you're right. If they had been wearing keffiyeh, then there would be no nuance to the story. Even if they had been white and wearing a keffiyeh, if they had any kind of pro-Palestine, you know, even if they had been, for sure.
It's the same way that, you know, Elon Musk can get away with it because he looks a certain way and believes a certain thing or whatever. And
I mean, that's the thing that's kind of sad about this moment is that actually everyone can get away with anti-Semitism. Like, I feel like there is a lot of anti-Semitism, but it's just not, again, it's not from pro-Palestinian folks. And those are the people who keep on being accused of it.
Yeah.
I mean, like, the repercussions for Kanye have been like, they've been there somewhat, but it is kind of like crazy how off his rocker he's gotten. And there's no repercussions for anything for Elon, obviously, because he like feels like he's kind of, you know, half running the country.
Tried to point it out to our own audience, but this is exactly the fault of Israel for taking every opportunity to make sure that Judaism and being Jewish is conflated with being Israeli. Like this is like part of their whole strategy. They want to marry those two things so closely,
which is
they're
why
inextricable.
Which is why we have to like constantly, just fight against it.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, I think I've exhausted the Dave Portnoy thing, but thanks for humoring me. The last thing I have, I kind of wish we would have done it on the last episode when we did the Harvard stuff, but have you seen the Anti-Semitism Task Force report?
No, is this from Harvard?
Yeah.
I heard they also had an Islamophobia one, but I haven't read either.
They have an Islamophobia one?
They did, yeah.
Interesting. I'd be interested in reading that. I highlighted a couple things from this one because, I mean, I think they're trying to come off as like a impartial sort of task force where they really, really made a good effort to understand multiple sides on this issue.
How long is the report? I'm just curious. I haven't seen it.
The report is quite long, actually. It is, some graphs, 311 pages.
Holy crap. Wow.
Yeah. I definitely did not read 311 pages of this.
You're not dedicated, Ahmed.
No, I was going to run it into one of those AI
No
things.
AI.
Why?
Because environment.
Not a concern for me anymore. I have it running locally on my machine, so it doesn't consume any resources beyond what's on my computer.
That's so cool. I didn't realize that meant that.
If you download a distilled model.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Yeah, which you can download a distilled model and run it locally on your machine. And it doesn't need to connect to the internet or anything. And it can do a lot, actually.
Very cool.
That's how I'm writing some code.
Yeah.
Anyway, should we go through it or should we maybe wait and then go through this one and the Islamophobia
I was going to say, it might
one?
actually be a good episode. But I'd be down to get a little teaser if you want.
Hey, Ahmed here. We actually ended up having a little bit of a discussion about this. It's late. I'm tired of editing. And I also think that waiting on this and doing an episode later in which we kind of review the Anti-Semitism Task Force report and the Islamophobia Task Force report might be a better episode overall. So just look forward to that. But we'll just end it here. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.